And thinking about it. And live, yay. And here we go. Good morning, everybody. My name is Osa. We are playing Farming Simulator 22 on Glenleathann. And we have some work to do. It is October 1. I have sold all of the grass silage. So we now don't have a loan. And we have £143,000 left over. I had a few hours of dry to sell the silage in, and then it rained for most of the morning through to midday. The rain has just stopped. It's October 1, the maize field, nope, it's not a maize field, it's a barley field on our right is growing, and well, it has a bunch of weeds in it somewhere that we've got to find and get rid of. I think just down here. Oh yeah. And then the entire field needs sprayed. Okay, let's get this thing unfolded. So the extreme edges of the field, not a problem. But this patch here had a I think it had oats in it, and so we didn't plough it. Every other part of this field got ploughed, especially where we joined them all together. So I have to very carefully find and eliminate all of the weeds, and also try and fish the tea bag out of my teacup while I'm doing it. There we go. Okay, so we should have a fairly quiet day today. Teenage Ose has been out at a conference all week and got back probably after 11 o'clock last night, so she's probably going to be sleeping for most of the morning. Mrs. Osa had to go and get her, so she's going to be sleeping for the rest of the morning. And the kids, Grandma took the girl and her older brother up north. The young lad didn't want to go, but his mum decided to, they wanted to get a puppy, so they went to have a look at the puppy yesterday evening. And the woman with the puppy says she'd give them a discount if they took it off her hands immediately, so they went home, got some money, and went back and bought the puppy. So young lad decided he wanted to stay home and play with the new puppy. He's 7. So yep, that's a thing. So as I say, we have a very quiet day today, and I am really not doing a good job of this, am I? What angle am I running at? 215. Now the other thing I discovered on my equipment is this hoe needs 250 horsepower to run, and I have 2 tractors with that amount of horsepower. Basically this Zerion and the big case. So there's eventually we're going to have another adjustment of equipment on the farm. This is ideally my carting tractor. So it's probably going to remain that. Our case, because it's tracked, is predominantly a fieldwork tractor. I could do this job with the case, but really it's a little bit over indulgent to use such a big tractor on what is really a smaller piece of equipment. But we have two barely over 200 horsepower tractors, the Massey Ferguson and the New Holland. Although, if I do get a self-propelled sprayer, then maybe we'll trade out the Massey Ferguson, because we really only use that for spraying. Or the intent of that one was to use it for spraying. It's actually quite a useful tractor, and it complements the New Holland quite well. But we could go with some tractor a little bit bigger. Like maybe an 8 Series class again. No, not going to go with that. But the 800 series class was the vehicle that we did tend to use for this task. We have a lot of weeds out here. I'm thinking this field was actually quite big. Anyway. Fortunately, then the crop is still short enough or flexible enough we can take a big tractor like this out here. Oh, now last week Mrs. Osa was not feeling the greatest on Sunday or Saturday when we needed to go and pick up the young girl who visits us. And I needed to go to the fish shop because we were out of chemicals for the fish tank. So I said, oh, I'll go and get her. So I went to get her, and already the local farmers are out harvesting their barley, which kind of wasn't expecting. Oh no, that's not good. Okay, we have a very big weed here, which this is not going to do anything about. And that's because, well, maybe it did. That piece of ground there is not seeded. So anywhere the seeder didn't go will not have destroyed the weeds that were already there. But, it looked like there was a flowering weed from coming towards it, but I can't see it, so I don't know. Anyway, we have weeds to get rid of. And this here, yeah, that's about as far as we need to come. So having a bit of a larger headland on each side does mean I'll be able to turn around a little bit easier. So not much new news that I know of on Farm Sim 25 stuff. I know a lot of the guys who went to FarmCom took an extended vacation and went to visit each other. But, yeah, not really something. No, with my medical issues, not really something I can divert the time to for now. I could really do with a GPS on this tractor for this task. Well, maybe next year. I mean, the thing is with the farm now, aside from buying new fields, which is going to be an ongoing concern, we do have a fair chunk of money coming in December, January, when we sell the maize silage and the next round of grass silage. And also, well, actually that's all we've got to sell. I may start selling some of our flour off as well, because obviously I can't use the bakery right now. We're going to need to plant sugar beets, and it's not a good time to do that right this instant. And then we're going to have to buy the sugar factory, and until I have sugar beets there's no point buying a sugar factory. And then there's a bunch of other stuff we need to do as well. We're going to need milk, we're going to need honey and tomatoes. Milk makes cheese, so we're going to need a dairy. So there's a lot of production that we need to buy just to put the bakery to work. So a little bit sad we bought the bakery, but we bought it. Now we have to make it productive eventually. But I've got a whole ton of flour sitting around that I really can't do much with except sell. Okay, I'm not sure how many weeds I'm actually getting here. I'm also not sure how much of a difference doing this will make to our environmental score across this entire field set. But going forward, because in the future I will be using a subsoiler to plough, or to remove the needs ploughed state from our maize fields, subsoilers don't stop weeds from growing. So we will have a ton of weeds, which means we can do this job every year, and this job does help with the environmental factor, or the environmental score, just because, you know, if you plough you don't get weeds, but that is a huge penalty on the environmental score, which affects your cell bonus. Looks like I missed some over there on the right. May use the map. Should we go and swing around there and get those done? It looks like they go a long way north. There we go. Oh, of course, just because a small boy child wants to play with the puppy doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to get bored with that and want to come visit. Anyway, at the moment we are looking at a peaceful day. And mist weeds. Now we've got a ton of stuff going on every evening at church this week. However, next weekend Mrs. Osa's taking all of the kids off to visit her dad in Ohio. I think they'll be here on, well, they might be here on the Saturday. It depends when the girl comes home from grandma's as to when we go and pick her up. She might spend the weekend here, she might spend the weekend with her mum. We'll definitely be picking them up Sunday night at the latest, so Mrs. Osa can leave on Monday morning. But I don't know whether they'll be here next weekend during Saturday. Well, I guess we'll find out when that happens. So we made it to episode 60 on this series. Year 4, October 1, so do you start in August or September? I can't remember when the first day of game is, or a playthrough starts. Okay, let's go there. We're here. Actually, that's good. We missed a couple there, we missed one there. I'm not going to call that too bad of a go. Oh, each field is different. So the field segments are tracked separately. We are looking at weed control is meh. That one is missing nitrogen. That's okay. I think we did that last year. This one is getting its weed control now. This one has very poor weed control and very poor pH, but we did spread lime on it last. So when we harvest that field next spring, early summer, then the environmental score on that field will be improved as well. Lots of rabbits playing in the front yard today. Like I said, I could do with GPS here, but just for this job, and I don't think it's worthwhile putting GPS on this tractor just for this job. And next year we might have a small change in tractors and have one that's actually capable of hauling this tool, or I'll just put it on a worker. Because next year, in theory, the entirety of all my fields may actually need to be weeded, and so it'll work out. It would be a lot easier for me to just stick this on a courseplay worker and leave it to it. I'm not doing that here because, one, the entire field isn't covered, and courseplay is probably going to set up a course for the entire field. And two, I got nothing better to do. Ooh, very misty. guess we have a lot more of this sort of lighting effect to look forward to Farm Sim 25. So anyway, last Saturday we managed to get the entirety of the front wall of the basement cleared off of clutter. Most of the clutter ended up in the garage, but it's now sufficiently sorted out that a lot of the stuff in the garage is trash. So while Mrs. Osa's out of town week after next, week after next, I will be able to create a minimum of trash. So we'll probably end up with one trash bag for the entire week as opposed to the 3 or 4 we usually get, because teenage Osa makes trash like it was a hobby. But then I'll be able to throw a sizable amount of the trash out next week. Not this week, not this week, next week. So hopefully a lot of the crap in the garage will have gone. Looks like I might have missed some more weeds in the field. As I said, I'm kind of at the point where so long as I deal with most of them, we're fine. This is a yield bonus thing. It also happens to give us a small bump in environmental score, but it's the yield that weeds do that's the issue. Because obviously we want the most grains that we can get off a field. Anyway, keep this up. So we also, we also had a call from the basement drainage people. At the moment we have a hard schedule for October of this year to fix it. Probably not an issue because I don't think we're going to end up with serious storm flood watch affairs through the summer. But so there's a reduced likelihood of seeing water collecting in the basement, and it doesn't hang around for long, especially not if I turn the dehumidifier on. And then, but they've also got us on a wait list, so if they have a team that has a cancellation, they'll call us and fit us in earlier, but that's on they make the call, you have to pick up, and if you don't pick up they move on to the next person, and they'll ask you if the date that they have, which could be as soon as tomorrow type of affair, is convenient for you, and then if it's not, you decline, which means we'd stay on the October schedule. But hopefully they come out sooner than that, so I can put the basement back to the way it was. At the moment, one side of the model railway benchwork is inaccessible, as to is, I think, half of the other side. Doesn't stop me cutting lengths of wood though, which I may do over the next week or so. Well, a couple of weekends, I guess. Mrs. Osa doesn't let me use power tools when she's not here, and we're going to be out every evening this week. So again, not a convenient time for me to get down to the basement and use power tools. I can't see where the weeds are from this direction, which is why I'm missing strands here or there. In other model railway news, I was watching Chadwick Model Railway's summer roundup, and Charlie had commented that the sound file on one of his locomotives was pretty poor. So he had a local retailer who does sound chip installation and will install an appropriate sound file. He called him up and did a deal to supply the sound file so he could load it himself. So I thought, oh, I'll go look those people up and see what's what. And they don't deal with the US. However, they did point out they charge, I think it said they charge about $135, so fewer pounds, to install a chip and sound file. But they did say that for certain sound files, the company they get the sound files from has done a deal with or gone into partnership with the sound chip manufacturers, so all of their files are now available for free. So there's a bit of a discount if theirs is the sound file that is most appropriate for the install. Okay, fine. So I have that manufacturer's chip programmer, so I went off to their website. Sure enough, yes, all of the sound files are free. So one of the reasons I got into sound locomotives, one of the locomotives I bought was on sale. It was sort of last one in range, heavily discounted with a sound chip in it. So I thought, okay, well, fair enough, I'll buy that. At the time, I wasn't really, all my locomotives have to have sound, but I thought, yeah, it'll be nice to have. So I tested it out on the little circle of test track and thought, yeah, this is okay. So it gave me an option. I can either put a DCC chip in the locomotive, or I can pay a little bit extra for a sound chip, and then I need to source a sound file. So I did that for one of my locomotives, and it was a really easy sort of plug and play sound chip install. So installed the sound chip, contacted this company. They don't deal with the US, so I had to call my dad up and say, okay, I've got this sound file I want to buy, can you send them £35 so that they'll send it to me? So yeah, did that. My dad paid the £35. I got the sound file, I installed the sound file, everything's working fine. I got 2 more sound chips, but I haven't really got round to installing those on any of my locomotives.